Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the next part of my FF. None of the events mentioned are true. It is just a story that is written by me and it is the author imagination. And no idol is being harmed, no idol have any negative characters. Hope you like the video. Please comment down. Thank you so much. Now we start. Minnie's breath caught. The word wife left his mouth with a conviction she had never heard before. The woman's voice faltered as the weight of the stairs around her settled in. She let out a brittle laugh. Of course, it was just a joke. Jungkook didn't smile. Learn the difference between a joke and disrespect. Silence followed, heavy and awkward. The woman muttered an insincere apology before turning away, clearly eager to escape the sudden spotlight. The rest of the group quickly dispersed, each person pretending to be deeply invested in another conversation. Minnie stood frozen, unsure of what to do. She had imagined 100 candies of him defending her, but they had always been daydream. She told herself to forget, and now here it was, real, raw, and as unexpected. She could barely breathe. Jungkook glanced at her, then his eyes softened, and she would seen in a month. Are you all right? Her throat tightened. She nodded quickly, unable to form words. Good, he said after a moment, his voice steady again. Let's get some air. They stepped out of the balcony. The cool night breeze a welcome relief from the suffocating heat of the ballroom. The city lights stretched out below them, glittering like another world. For a long moment, neither spoke. Minnie kept her eyes on the skyline, afraid that if she looked at him, she would see something in his expression she wouldn't understand. But he broke the silence first. I don't care what anyone says, Jungkook said quietly, his hand resting on the railing. You are not your sister. You never were. Her heart thrilled in her chest. The words were so simple, yet they sliced through months of silence and coldness, like sunlight breaking through the clouds. She swallowed hard. Why did you defend me tonight? You have never. She stopped herself, unsure if it was wise to finish. His jaw tightened slightly. Because I have been a fool, he exhaled slowly, as though weighing each other. I let my anger towards Hannah blind me. I assumed the roast about you without giving you a chance. But tonight, I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand hearing them talk about you like that. Minnie blinked rapidly, the sting in her eyes starting to spill over. You didn't have to. Yes, he interrupted firmly, turning to face her fully. I did. They stood there, inches apart, the city humming softly below. For the first time since their wedding day, she saw something in his eyes that wasn't coldness and suspicion. It wasn't quite love, not yet, but it was a glimmer of respect, of something warmer, struggling to break free. A moment passed, and Jungkook cleared his throat, looking away, as if realizing he had let too much slip. We should go back in. People will talk if we are gone too long. Minnie nodded, though her heart still pounded from his earlier words. As they re entered the ballroom, she felt a unfamiliar sensation, like a thin thread had been tied between them, fragile but real. And she wondered for the first time if maybe, just maybe, things could change. The rain started suddenly, like a sheet of silver falling from the heavens, drumming against the car roof, a pavement with unrelenting force. The sound was deafening, wrapping them in a cocoon of water and isolation. Jungkook's hands tightened around the steering wheel as he glanced at the road ahead. The wipers struggling to keep up with the downpour. They were returning from a charity event his company had sponsored, a rare evening where they had appeared together in public without tension. But nature had decided to trap them in its own way. We can't keep driving like this, he muttered, slowly down as visibility dropped to nearly nothing. The headlights illuminated nothing but mist and torrents of rain. He scanned the roadside until his eyes caught the faint glow of a small neon sign, half flickering. "We will stop here for a while." Minnie, sitting quietly beside him, simply nodded. She had been quiet the entire ride, though it wasn't unusual. Most of their car riders were silent. Sometimes because she didn't know what to say, sometimes because he didn't let her in far enough to try. Not cold, not filled with resentment, but heavy. They pulled into the tiny parking lot and Jungkook killed the engine. Rain spattered harder against the windshield, making it impossible to see beyond a few meters. "We want it out," he said already, unbuckling his seat belt, "or at least until it calms down enough to keep driving." Minnie nodded again, but she didn't move to open the door. The car was warm from the heater. The windows slightly fogged, the air between them fragile, as if any sudden word might shatter whatever tentative peace they had stumbled into lately. Jungkook glanced at her from the corner of his eyes. The soft light from the steel lamp outside caught the side of her face, illuminating the delicate curve of her cheekbone and the small glistening droplets in her hair from when they had dashed to the car earlier. She wasn't wearing much makeup, just a hint of color on her lip, and yet there was something disarming about her simplicity. He looked away quickly. He hated when his mind went there. The rain roared louder, droning out the muffled hum of dinner sign. For a long moment, neither spoke. It was Minnie who broke the silence, her voice soft but cutting through the steady drumming on the roof. "You don't have to keep doing it, you know." Jungkook turned to her, his brows knitting. "Doing what?" "Looking at me," he said quietly, her gaze fixed on her hand, clasped in her lap. "Like I'm something you have to tolerate." He blinked caught off guard. "I wasn't often that." She said something so direct, especially to him. "I don't." He startled, but she took her head gently. "You do," she interrupted, her tone still calm. "Maybe you don't realize it, but you do." He swallowed, her fingers fidgeting with the delicate bracelet on her wrist, the one he had fixed for her just weeks ago. "I am not asking for anything. I just don't want you to think I'm the person you believe I am." Something in his head shifted, the way it had the night she had helped him avoid disaster at the business dinner, or when she had insulted and had found himself defending her without thinking. He leaned back against the seat, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know what to think anymore." His voice was low, but reluctant. "You are not Harmony. I know that much now." But he trailed off, staring at the rain. "But you can't forget that I am her sister," she finished for him. He didn't deny it. Silence wrapped around them again, but it wasn't suffocating this time. Instead, it was filled with unsaid words and unasked questions. Outside, a flash of lightning briefly lit up the inside of the car. Minnie flinched slightly. It wasn't fear, exactly, but more of an involuntary reaction. Jungkook noticed. Without thinking, he leaned over and adjusted the heater towards her, his fingers brushing her arm for the briefest second. "Thanks," she murmured, not looking at him. He stared at her profile, trying to piece together why it bothered him so much to see her small act and endurance. The cold silences or the harsh words he would thrown at her in the past. Most people in her place would have fought back, would have demanded comfort or attention. But Minnie, she just took it quietly, like she believed she deserved more. "Do you?" He hesitated, then forced the word out. "Do you ever feel lonely here? Do you?" He hesitated. She gave a small humorous laugh every day. The blunt honesty of it hit him harder than he expected. He had assumed she might segregate the truth, maybe even tell him she was fine. But no, she said it plainly without bitterness. "And yet," he said slowly, "you never say anything." "What would be the point?" she asked softly. "I'm not here because you wanted me. I'm here because Hania didn't want you. I know my place. Her words were like a quiet stab because deep down he knew she was right. At least about the beginning, but no, sitting there in the dimly lit car with rain, masking the rest of the world, he wasn't too sure that it was still the whole truth. Minnie, his voice fluttered. He wanted to tell her that he didn't see her as a replacement anymore. That there was a moment, small, inconvenient moments, where he found himself thinking about her in ways he shouldn't. He wanted to tell her that when she smiled, it stayed with him longer than he'd like to admit. But the word struck in his throat, choked by pride and fear. Yes, she asked when he didn't continue. Shook his head silently. Nothing. Her lips curved into the funniest of sad smiles. That's what I thought. Another stretch of silence followed, broke only by the rhythmic pounding of rain. This time, though it was Jungkook who broke it. You are not like her, he said suddenly, his tone sharper than he intended. Not out of anger, but out of conviction. I don't know why I thought you were. I was wrong. Minnie blinked at him, surprised. That's the first time you have said that. Maybe, he admitted. Maybe because it's I don't want to admit I could be wrong about you. It's easier to stay angry than to see you for who you are. Her chest tightened at the words. She wanted to ask who he thought she was now, but she was afraid of the answer. Lightning flashed again, followed by a low rumble of thunder. The rain wasn't slowing, but inside something had shifted. I'm still figuring out, he said quietly, almost to himself, who you are to me. Her breath caught, but before she could respond, he glanced back at the windshield. Looks like it's letting up a little. We should get going. The moment was over, just like that. Retreated behind the wall he had so carefully built. But Minnie caught a glimpse through the cracks, and for the first time she wondered if maybe, just maybe, those walls weren't as unbreakable as she had once thought. As he started the car, neither of them spoke again. But the silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full of questions, full of unspoken feelings, full of knowledge. They had come dangerously close to saying the things they weren't ready to admit. And somewhere deep inside, both of them know it was only a matter of time before the rain came again. The afternoon was unevenly still, the air heavy with an approaching storm. Minnie had gone out to the market alone, carrying a small list of groceries in a basket over her arm. Jungkook had been at the office, distracted by meetings and his unusual attempts to keep his emotional tightly bound. He told himself he didn't care where she went or what she did, but the truth was, he noticed the moment she left. It wasn't until an urgent phone call came through from his mother that the carefully stacked wall inside him began to shake. She's at the hospital. Her mother-in-law's voice snapped to the receiver. There was some accident near the main road. For a second, Jungkook froze, the words refusing to sink in. Then, almost without thought, he was on his feet, grabbing his car keys. The sound of his heartbeat thundered in his ears as he drove, his mind a chaotic swirl of images he didn't want to see. Minnie lying hurt, blood on her hands, her eyes closed, motionless. He gripped the steering wheel tightly. His knuckles turned white. The moment he reached the hospital, he spotted her sitting on the bed in the emergency ward, unurgently cleaning a scab on her forehead. She was pale but alert, her hands clenching her dress in a way that she told she was more shaken than she left on. Minnie, his voice came out low, almost hoarse. She looked up surprised. Jungkook? He crossed the room in quiet strides, his eyes scanning her for injuries. What happened? She hesitated, as if debating whether to downplay it, but the nurse spoke before she could. A motorbike lost control and almost hit her. She felt trying to move out of the way. Luckily, it was just a strap. She's fine. The word fine barely registered in his mind. He could still picture her lying on the asphalt, the thought making his stomach twist. You could have been seriously hurt, he said sharply, though his tone wasn't one of anger. It was something far more vulnerable. I wasn't, she said softly, avoiding his gaze. But Jungkook couldn't look away from her. The small bandage on her temple, the tremble in her finger, the way her voice carried exhaustion, it all dug into him like claws. Without thinking, he reached out and brushed a loose strand of hair from her face, his fingertips lingering longer than necessary. She flinched lightly at the unexpected contact, and it was only that he realized just how his touch was. I will take you home, he said, more like a command than a request. The ride back was silent, the tension between them a mix of unspoken words and unfamiliar worry. She sat in the passenger seat, her gaze fixed in the rain, beginning to streak the windows. Jungkook kept glancing at her from the corner of his eyes, as if he assured himself she was still there, still breathing. When they arrived, he didn't let her walk on her own. Careful, he muttered, his hands resting lightly on her elbows as they entered the house. His mother was waiting in the living room. Well, she's fine, she said briskly, as though dismissing the entire ordeal. You should be more careful, May. We don't need any unnecessary drama. Minnie simply nodded, her eyes lowered. She had learned long ago not to expect comfort here. But Jungkook's jaws clenched at his mother's tone. She could have been badly hurt, he said, his voice sharp. It's not a drama, Mom. It's a reality. Try something with some concern. His mother blinked, taken aback by his sudden defense, but said nothing further. Minnie glanced at him in surprise, a flicker of something unbearable in her eyes. Once in their room, she tried to insist she could handle herself. You don't have to fuss over me. I am fine, really. But Jungkook shook his head, already bringing her a warm cloth off her forehead. Stop saying you're fine when you are not. Her breath caught at his words, softer now, but piercing than any anger. She walked in silence. He crouched beside her, driving gently at her temple. His touch was careful, almost hesitant, as if he feared she might break under his hand. I didn't think you, she began, but the rest of her scent faded into quiet. You didn't think I cared? He asked, his eyes locking with hers. He hesitated, her lips parting slightly, but no rebellion came. Instead, her gaze dropped to her lap. Jungkook leaned back, exhaling slowly. Maybe I told myself I didn't, but today, when I heard you were hurt, it felt like he stopped shaking his head. It doesn't matter. It matters, she said softly. For the first time, her voice carried a hint of insistence. They sat in silence, the air between them heavier than before, but not in the same way it used to be. This was different, charged, yet strangely fragile. The night Jungkook didn't sleep in his usual position, with his back turned. Instead, he stayed up watching her, breathing even out, the soft moonlight spilling over her face. The thought that he could have lost her ground at him, and for the first time since their marriage, he admitted to himself, if only in his mind, that losing her would hurt in a way that he wasn't ready to face. By morning, something had shifted. He didn't announce it, didn't speak grand words or more dramatic promise. But when they came downstairs, his hand brushed against her briefly, and he didn't pull away. It was the smallest of gestures, yet for Minnie, it was enough to feel that maybe, just maybe, he was finally choosing her side. The evening air was calm. Django felt a strange heaviness pressing against his chest. It had been weeks since the accident that nearly took Minnie from him, and his life had quietly begun to shift. He found himself lingering at the breakfast table just to watch her smile when she poured him tea, asking questions about her day, or walking her to the garden without even realizing he was doing it. Mini presents had started feeling like an obligation. It had become a comfort, but comfort is fragile, and that night, as he pulled into the driveway, he saw a figure leaning against the stone gate, one he never thought he would see again. Hania. She looked different, yet eerily the same. The careful styled hair and the designer dresses were gone, replaced by disheveled waves and a faded coat that didn't belong to her. But her eyes still carried the mix of charm and calculation that had once convinced she was the love of his life. Jungkook, she said softly, stepping forward as he got out of the car. It's been a while. He froze, the shock pinning him to the spot. His mind scrambled to process her presence, memories flooding in, her laughter on her first date, the way she would promise forever, and the way she had left him standing humiliated at the altar. What are you doing here? His voice was cold, but there was an undertone of disbelief. Hania tilted her head, feigning a small smile. I needed to see you. I made mistakes, Sanku. I know that now. Mistakes? His jaw tightened. You ran away and the man from money, Hania. You didn't just make a mistake, you destroyed everything. His eyes glistening as Thor's tear was about to fall. I was stupid. I thought he could give me the life I wanted, but he left me with nothing. I lost everything. And when I thought about you, who I had, you were the only one who ever truly cared. Jungkook's hands clenched into fists. That man didn't take everything from you, Hania. You gave it willingly. And don't pretend you are here for anything but your own survival. She flinched at his tone, but quickly softened her expression. Maybe I don't deserve forgiveness, but I miss you. I miss us. Her eyes searched his face, her voice lowering. And I can't ignore that you end up marrying my sister. Jungkook's eyes narrowed instantly. Don't bring Minnie into this. Hania's lip twitched into a faint smirk that didn't reach her eyes. Why not? She's living the life that was supposed to be mine. And you look at her differently now, don't you? He didn't respond, which was enough confrontation for her. That's interesting, she murmured, brushing past him towards the house. Hanya? His voice was warming. Don't cause trouble. Her smile was sugar coated poison. Me? I would never. I'm family, remember? Minnie was in the living room. The door opened. She was arranging fresh flowers in a vase, her soft hum filling the quiet space. When she turned to greet Jungkook, the smile on her face faltered. Hanya? Hanya's expression lit up in mock delight. Minnie, oh, it's been so long. She crossed the arm and embraced her younger stepsister, though the grip was stiff and perfume was overwhelming. Minnie stood still, too stunned to hug back. The last time they would spoken was the night before the Hanya's wedding. That wedding that never happened. But what are you doing here? Minnie's voice was cautious. I thought it was time to come home, Hania replied smoothly, and to make amends. We are sisters after all. Jungkook moved past them, heading toward the stair. She's staying for the night. We will discuss later. Minnie watched him go, then turned back to Hania, who was already wandering around the room, eyes scanning the expensive furniture and decoration, as though mentally inventorying them. You look well, Hania said with a small smirk. Married life must be treating you nicely, Minnie stick warm. It's fine. Fine? Hania arched a brow. Living in this house with him, I would say that. That's more than fine. Some girls would kill for what you have. Minnie's stomach twisted. She didn't like the way Hania said it, like her marriage was a prize she would stolen rather than a blonde bond forged. Under painful circumstances. Over the next few days, Hania settled into the house as if she would never left. She charmed Jungkook's mother, reminiscing about old times, laughing at inside jokes. Minnie was apart. She sits there next to the dining table, making by comments about their shared past, and Minnie would quietly excuse herself before her discomfort became too obvious. But Hania wasn't just reminiscing, she was observing, watching the subtle way Jungkook's gaze would linger on Minnie when he thought no one noticed, catching the way Minnie's face would light up when he spoke to her without the old hostility. It was too enough to make her blood boil. If she couldn't have Jungkook, she would make Minnie didn't either. One afternoon, Hania found Minnie alone in the garden, tending to the roses. "They are beautiful," Hania said, crouching down beside her. Minnie glanced up wary. "Thank you. I have been looking after them since I came here." Hania's smile was faint but edged. "Must be nice to have everything handed to you." Minnie blinked in confusion. "Handed to me? You married Jungkook without lifting a finger. One minute I was supposed to be the bride, with and the next you were wearing the dress." Minnie grip on the watering tightened. "I didn't ask for this. You left, Hania. I only married because our parents insisted to protect the family's name, right?" Honey said softly, but her tone dipped into the weave. "And now you're falling for him, aren't you?" Minnie heart skipped a beat, her cheeks heating. "That's none of your business." Hanya's smirk widened. "Oh, it's very much of my business because I know Jungkook. I know how to get under his skin. And I can see he's starting to care for you. But don't fool yourself, Minnie. He loved me first." Minnie stood abruptly, her chest tight. "If you are here to cause trouble, maybe you should leave." Hania only laughed, the sound sharp. "Oh, little sister, I'm just getting started." That evening, Jungkook found Minnie in the kitchen, her expression usually tense as she washed the dishes. "You have been quiet," he said, leaning against the counter. She didn't look at him. "I'm fine." He studied her for a moment. "Is this about Hania?" Her hand still in the water. "Why did he let her stay?" "She's family," he said, but his tone lacked conviction. "It's temporary." Minnie finally turned to face him, her voice soft but firm. "She's not here to make peace, Jungkook. She's here to ruin peace, our peace. We have managed to find." He frowned. "You think I can't see what she's doing? Then why?" Minnie stood herself, biting her lip. She didn't want to sound like she was questioning his loyalty. Jungkook stepped closer, his voice lower. "Minnie, I'm not the same man I was when she left. And you are not her. I know that now." For a fleeting moment, Minnie thought she saw something in his eyes, a promise, unspoken. But before she could reply, Hania's voice echoed from the hallway. "Jungkook, I need to talk to you." He sighed, stepping back. "We will talk later." And just like that, the fragile moment was gone. That night, Minnie lay awake, listening to the faint murmur of voices from the living room downstairs. She couldn't hear the words, but she recognized Hania's tone, sweet, coaxing, deliberate, and she hated how it made her chest ache. She had survived months of coldness from Jungkook, endured the sharp edges of his resentment, but now, when his walls were finally beginning to crumble, Hania's return threatened to rebuild them. Minnie wasn't sure if her heart could take it. Hope you guys like the video. Please like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for supporting my channel. And thank you so much. Bye bye. Wait for the next part soon. It will be uploaded. Thank you so much.